Okay, Richard, so I think, like you said, on Tuesday it was a very sort of frank and honest reflection of that game. 48 hours or so past now, is sort of still fresh in the mind, or how are you reflecting now?
Look, I think I didn't want to see it, but I wasn't surprised to see it, because experience tells me that that's what may happen. And no matter what you say beforehand, and no matter how much you try and guard against it, you know, it's just the way things develop. You know, you look at Swansea last year, who won the Capital Cup in March, couldn't win a league game after Christmas. Fleetwood got to the semi-finals of the trophy this year, can't win a league game. Peterborough the same, Swindon the same. And I think unless you're Barcelona or Real Madrid, it's very difficult to win enough games in that period when you're winning cup games to maintain equilibrium in the league. And I can't give you a reason for it, other than the fact that I think you can only win so many games in a certain period. You know, to win a cup tie, then a league game, then a cup tie, then another cup tie, then a league game. You know, you're asking the team to win 5 games in a row. And if you want to stay in a cup competition, something has to give. So I wasn't surprised to see it. I didn't want to see it. And I suppose my comments afterwards were based solely on the fact that I don't think there's any complacency set in, but we have to make sure that that is not the case. And I also think you can't put a level on. It's not just the physical, it's the mental. You know, whether it's euphoria, whether it's relief, whether it's excitement, whether it's inexperience, whether it's distraction, or whatever it is, actually getting to the final at Wembley and what you have to go through to get that as a player, and everyone, you know, is enormous. And I know what it means to everyone to go and play at Wembley. You know, it means the same to me, despite what people may think. But I have to. It's my job to make sure that, you know, the run that we're on in the league doesn't continue in this period between now and the final, because if it does, the period after the final is going to become doubly difficult. We're still in a good place. You know, I think that shows just how well we started, which probably wasn't really, we weren't given enough credit for. We're still in second place. We've still got a buffer. It's not as big as it was. It's not great. We still have games in hand. So despite what's happened during this last month, you know, we're still in a good place. But we have to make sure it doesn't drift. That's for sure. And we need to win we need to win a league game quickly.
I guess, like you say, every league game is a cup final. I guess for a cup final, quite often you might have 1 or maybe 2 weeks to prepare, whereas you've got a matter of days, a turnaround in between every one of these games, haven't you?
Yeah, look, I understand why the final's been put to March, because obviously the calendar at Wembley is not easy. But the cup finals really are an end of season finale, and to have it come where it's going to come does make life difficult. There's no doubt about it, you know. And it hasn't even started yet. I think Tuesdays we looked jaded. You know, we couldn't get any tempo in the game. The pitch didn't help. You know, the opponents didn't help because they were great on the night. Really worked us hard, did a job on us, which we knew they would. But we looked jaded. We couldn't get any tempo going. And you know, the whole euphoria of going to Wembley hasn't even started yet. You know, they're going down today to pick dressing rooms, and going down today to toss up for dressing rooms and pick up tickets, and you know, so all the nonsense is about to start. You know, I'm lucky. I've been to cup finals as a player. You know, I've been to cup finals as a coach, as a manager. I know what happens, and I suppose my comments on Tuesday were really a gut reaction to try and ward off what could happen, and we can't allow to happen.
In terms of the physical side of things, and did you come through the Braintree game sort of unscathed in terms of further injuries?
Yeah, we did, but you know, we just seem to have a never-ending catalogue of problems with forward players. You know, Elliot, we knew we'd need a game off at some stage, but has now picked up a virus. Chambers has picked up a virus, so both of those won't be available for the weekend. But in terms of injury, I think we've come out of Tuesday's game okay.
And so, yeah, finally, obviously, like you say, need a win, and Saturday's Kidderminster, and it's one of those many teams that have got lots to play for, and they've got sort of playoff aspirations in mind as well.
Yeah, they've been inconsistent in the past month, but you know, their performance on Tuesday was terrific, and you know, they'll have probably what they consider to be their best team back on Saturday, with Vaughan being back, and they're a team that can finish second just as easily as we can.